the microphone. All right, so my name is Clement, and I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. It's just such an honor to be here with such a great group of women who I've heard so many wonderful people stand up and talk, and I'm just excited to give my story and hopefully leave something with you guys. So, Nicole Designs is my interior design business. I'll give you a brief background and then I'll kind of back up in time a little bit. I had started my business in 2006, actually in Charleston, South Carolina. Moved up here at the end of 2006 into Loudoun County, and got started in my business and have just been on an amazing, very fast-paced journey in my work life and my personal life ever since then. So I'm going to take you guys back a little bit. My family, my mom and dad are here today, and for those of you who haven't met my mom yet, I hope that you will, and we'll talk a little bit more about her here shortly. But I really am going back to my younger days. My mom, since I was 2 years old, has been an interior decorator, and I truly didn't know at the time, watching her and observing and going on appointments with her as a little one and soaking everything in. I wasn't intending that that was going to be my career and where I'd end up, but I'm here today, and I really have them to thank for that. So, backing up a little bit, if you guys can see the screen here, which she may kill me for showing you this picture, but this is sometime in the mid to late 80s where I'm looking at this and I see the wallpaper, and it's some kind of version of Chevron, which is, you know, back and I'm even wearing today. So it's funny how these things all come around. But that's my mom and I, our loving dog Chelsea, who was there in the picture. And this is our house in Gaithersburg, and I just wanted to show this picture because it means so much to me, seeing how I grew up in a world full of design, even from a very young child. So I went from going on when schedules got tight and I'd go on appointments, I'd be thrown in the van and we'd go and I'd ride along for the day, or I was the cute little girl in pigtails who they'd say, okay, Lauren, go hand out these flyers to people, and I was the marketing department, which I now know is not a terrible thing to do. It actually may work, so employ our little girls here one day. But it was really neat since I can remember. I really grew up in an entrepreneurial household where my mom and dad were forming very successful businesses, and they were home for me when I needed them to be, but then I'd watch them work really hard, and I think that really influenced me. I said to myself, you know, this is really what I want when I grow up, and I have a family. I want to make sure that I can pick them up from school each day, and I can take them to where they need to go, and at the time it all seemed seamless and very easy. I now know today, having two little ones at 1.5 and 2.5, that y'all made it look really great and glorious, and it is, but it's also very, very hard. So, one thing I talk about my mom, I want to talk about my dad for a minute, because he has had a big influence on me as well. My dad's been in the sales and consulting business for quite some time, and we'd be out at dinner or at the post office or at the doctor or wherever we would be, and I'd be tagging along with him. And anybody who was in earshot of my dad, he would say, well, how are you today? And what's your name? What do you do? And it just used to embarrass the life out of me that he would literally talk to anybody who was near him. And sometimes they humored him, and sometimes they didn't. But I always watched him do this, and I thought, he enjoys people, and people truly enjoy and respond to him. And I now know that that's truly important and a passion as to why he's such a successful man. And along the way, I've observed a little bit and become very much like him in that regard. So, getting a little ahead of myself on my slides. One thing, talking about my dad, and like I said, my parents were very involved. So he would take me to school every morning, pick me up every day. I would go to the barn. So when I was 6 years old, I came home one day and I said, I want to ride a horse. I saw a little girl come to first grade in her riding pants, and I thought, well, that could be cool. Let's try that out. So that started a very long and very serious career of horseback riding, and this is my horse course, today, Bouweiri, who is retired and lives the good life out in Percival on a farm, and I miss him dearly, but when I started, who knew that this was going to be as large, a big part of my life as it was, but I would ride 6 days a week. We showed 40-some weekends out of every year. I did 100 jumpers, so a lot of dedication, and I missed a lot of proms and formals and a lot of school events growing up because I was so dedicated to doing very well in my sport, and I loved it. But what I think it really taught me is how much hard work truly pays off, and what I think today has made a big difference for me is you put out there everything that you can, and you work your hardest, and you do your best, and what can come back to you, that's what you can do. I, as a horseback rider, would go in a ring for my shows, and I had a course, and I had a plan, and that's what I was set out to do. But there was a judge who sat in a box and who got to decide if I was the best that day, or Sally was the best, or somebody else was better than me. But I knew that it was that person, my fate was in their hand. But I knew that I didn't have the most expensive horse or the best outfit, or but I had everything that I could, and I put my best out there. And it was great, and I actually did quite well and won many national championships and awards throughout the years and traveled extensively to do this, and it really has stuck with me and taught me a lot, I think, as to why I've persevered and done well in my business today. So after my riding career, I went to school, and I graduated from the College of Charleston in 2004 in South Carolina, and all the riding kind of went on the back burner, and I was going to school for clinical psychology. That was I loved the sports psychology aspect. I studied that riding, and I loved the people, I got from my dad, and I enjoyed learning about why people do certain things that they do, and how does that impact other events in life. And so when I graduated, I had every intention. I was signed up, started my first semester in graduate school for clinical psychology, and that was going to be my path. And I think it was like day 3 or 4 of this first semester that I said, I just don't think this is for me. I truly don't think I want to sit in this classroom for the next 6 or 7 years and get my PhD and be at a desk job. I never really imagined myself in a desk job position. I had way too much energy to do that, and so I came to my mom and I said, Mom, I really think I can do this. I think I can be an interior decorator. I have no formal training. I never studied or apprenticed under her, but I watched and learned, and I think I was absorbing a lot along the way. And I used to do things like rearrange all my furniture. I'd say, okay, I want to move this over here and try this over here. I'd take everything out of my drawers and rearrange and put it all back. And so I think somewhere instilled in me was that natural ability to to do that. I think some of us have that in us as well. So I was 23 and decided that I wanted to take a different path in my life and my career, and really approached her and said, okay, I watched you do this. How did you do it? How do I get started, and how do I follow in your footsteps and do as good of a job as you did? So she really helped me get started in forming a business plan, a marketing plan. The phone started to ring. I started to go out on appointments, and I felt, I was 23, but I felt like I looked 16. And I was there to go and knock on doors, and felt like I was a little bit nervous inside, but I knew that I learned a lot of the power of positive talk and self-talk through my psychology, through my parents, and watching how important that truly is. And I drive to that appointment and say, okay, I'm already a nationally award-winning decorator. I'm to be the best darn decorator out there. And literally that really helped find that confidence in me that I could go and kickstart my business pretty quickly. So I lived in Charleston for about 5 years, started my business for about 3 months, and my sister, who she is 12 years older than me, she lives in Haymarket, Prince William County. And she called one day and said, why don't you come up for a visit? And oh, by have so much fun. And I said, okay. So I made the 9-10 hour drive, and my vehicle's logoed at the time, sort of wrapped in a big, what I do, and I parked in front of her driveway, and the next morning, there's a knock on the door. It's Saturday morning at 8 o'clock at my sister's door, and somebody said, is there an interior decorator who's here? I've never seen this car before. And lo and behold, she was looking for me. So in that week stay that I came up to visit my sister, thinking this would be fun and bring some samples, I did more business in that 1 week stay than I had done in 3 months in Charleston. And I thought, okay, this is cool. I said I could get used to this. And I was single, I had no ties, I had been in Charleston for about 5 years, and it's really awfully sticky and hot in July and August in Charleston. And I decided to look into making a change in my life. And I did some homework. I learned that Loudoun County, at that time, and still is, one of the fastest growing and most wealthy counties in the country. I then learned it's crime horse country, and that's all I needed to hear. It was a good business move, it was a good place for me and Bogey to pack up and go to, and that's what I did. And really, I knew nobody, except for my sister and all of her happy friends who were now living in their pretty decorated houses. And I packed up and I moved and did not know one person. I had been up to visit. I had figured out where I was going to live and kickstart my business. Okay, so I was here and I thought, how am I going to do it? So I channeled my dad and decided to take cards, business cards, put myself out there. Anybody who could listen, who wanted to know who I was. I drove my logoed vehicle everywhere I could possibly think of, and I marketed myself like crazy. And I knew that that's what I needed to do to make a name for myself and then do a good job with my clients, but to get known. So I'd drive my car and people would say, I saw you at Starbucks, or you were at Target the other day, or I had a woman, I was pumping gas, and she said, your face is on my refrigerator. Oh, that's so cool, okay, it's working. I send a packet to anybody, excuse me, I need a quick sip of water, which I actually did not bring with here. If you don't mind, thank you. That's all right. I send a packet, thank you, I'm sorry, to anybody who buys a new home in the area, and it's a welcome packet. It's sort of a welcome to the neighborhood. I know this is an overwhelming time, and here are a few pieces of advice and my information as to how I can help you. I have a nail file, an emery board, which is so cute, and it has all my information on one side and then pictures of rooms that I've done on the other side. And it's 7:30 one morning, and I'm getting ready, and the phone rings, and I answered, and she said, I'm driving to work, I'm sitting in traffic on Route 7, and I'm filing my nails with your nail file, as I said, and I really need your help. Can you please come help me? So it's just neat. I really got off to a fast start here, and I attribute that to really putting myself out there. One funny difference, and anybody who's from the South will appreciate this, I attended a B&I group in Charleston. We met once a week. We had lunch on a marina overlooking the nice water, and there were about 10 or 12 of us in our nice sundresses and khakis and boat shoes. And I thought, okay, up here, somebody invited me to a B&I group when I was first here, and I said, okay, that's great. I know this could be a good group. It was great in Charleston, and I'm going to come. And I said, where and when do we meet? He said, 7:30 a.m. I thought, oh my goodness. So it was a little bit different in a room, much more full, much more formal, but it was just a fantastic way to get quite a big difference between here and the South, where things are a little slower. But I do miss parts of it very much. So I did get off to, like I said, a quick start. I really got involved in as much as I could, as quickly as I could, and I was still pre-Christopher at this point, so I really worked like a crazy woman. I did it all. I did my books, I did my design work, I did my all my clients. Everything was really under my umbrella, and I did that from my combined 900 square foot townhouse basement and garage, and just made it work. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it, but I kept growing and growing and growing, and then I met Chris. slides where this is out at the farm when this was enticing me to move up here to Loudoun County. I got behind. This is neat. I saw this recently, but it was really kind of how I felt when I moved here. Was I felt a need for me. People needed my help. They needed my services, and so I thought that was a cute mantra there. And this as well, I think is super important. This is where I wanted to be. So my business was off to a great start. I was growing like crazy, and the personal part of my life had yet to be fulfilled and get started. And then this man comes into my life, and it was fantastic. So we got married. We went off to an island and got married, and it was wonderful. And quickly after that, we had these two charming little ladies who are my loves and the reason I do what I do every day. That's Finley on the right. She's 2.5, and Campbell, who's 1.5. They're 15 months apart. And this is the part where everybody goes, "Oh," or "You're crazy." I think somebody said that earlier. Or, "Oh wow, good for you." It's just so funny to hear everybody's different reaction to that. But they're absolutely amazing and keep me on my toes all day, every day, both of us. And I will say, it takes a village. It's just, I worked late last night, and Chris sent me a picture of Campbell hanging off the refrigerator and said, "When are you coming home?" But before that, he said, "Stay as long as you want, we're all good." And then I get the plea for help about 20 minutes later. So, we wear a lot of hats, and I think all of you as women and moms know, you just kind of do what you have to do as you can. We had a rough winter of sickness, and my clients have just been so wonderful in understanding the balance between mom and personal life. So it's a new challenge, but it's a great one. So in the fast start, I had some really great opportunities to work with, and I still do, wonderful clients, amazing projects, and my clients just become my friends. I'm in a very personal part of their lives, which is their home. And when I meet with somebody, it's not to learn necessarily just what they like and what's going to make their house look great and beautiful, but it's about their lifestyle. And do they have little kids? Do they have dogs? Do we need to be looking at particularly durable fabrics for a family room sofa? I'm not going to give you a hand-embroidered silk fabric in your family room. I know that. So I work really closely with my clients to figure out, what do they need? And it's not about me. It's not what I like. People say, "Well, what's your style?" And I say, "Well, it's great. I'll be happy to tell you, but that's not why I'm here. I need to find out what it is that you want." And along the way, I've been able to create some pretty neat room transformations. We have a lot of new construction here, as you guys know. We have a lot of people who move into the area, or even who move west. It's always interesting because I hear people coming from Fairfax or Arlington, Alexandria, and they say, "Well, I have this little artwork, because it fit on my 8-foot wall and 8-foot ceilings." And then we have these huge 20-foot second-story family rooms, and people don't know what to do and how to make it work. So I see a lot of different situations where my help is needed. So I have been fortunate enough to enter those room makeovers into a dream room contest, and it's not even just so much about how beautiful the room is, it's about the transformation and the story, and what did I do that was specific to that family's needs or that person's needs at the time, and how did that really make a big difference? Because everybody always says, "You listened to me," and that shocked them that I listened. And so that's been a big deal for me, is to make sure that people know I'm going to do what they need me to do and not what I want to do. Sometimes that can be fun, but that's not real. That's not real life. In other awards that I'm going to show you some room photos here in just a second. But House, anybody on House and familiar with House? Okay, more of y'all need to get on it. It's really a great website. And honestly, Chris found this website and said, "You need to be on here." So he has his laptop fired up, and he puts all my stuff on there. I call him my chief marketing officer. does all the late night online marketing. But I was super honored to hear that several of my rooms were pinned to a certain number of idea boards, that other people liked my work enough to repin it that many times, and I won for a couple of different rooms in 2012 and 2013, which was great. And then in 2010, was one of the top 30 under 30 business people in Loudoun County, which was an amazing local award. As Heidi did say, I've been published in several magazines, and I just found out that our daughter's room was in the Atlanta Home Improvement magazine that just came out. So it's neat to see, these are things that are great. They're add-ons for me. They're bonuses to all the great work that I do. Most importantly, Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Jones, and they're all happy with everything, but this is a neat way for me to kind of see my work recognized. All right, so I'm sure y'all are wondering at this point, what kind of work do I do? And let's get to the pretty stuff. So, this is a before picture. I'm going to show you several before and after pictures. And feel free to ooh and ah at your own will. Okay, so obviously a completely blank slate. And I'll start this with, I got a call from this gentleman who said, we move into our house, we close on our house, and we have been living with friends. They were not from this country. They moved in. They said, we have nothing. We don't even have a mattress. So we move in a couple months, and I need everything done. I'm 8 months pregnant. So I go, okie dokie, let's do it. So, with a lot of help, this is the after. Thanks, guys. I love that. It's just awesome. Now, I will preface this with, it doesn't happen as easy as the click of a button. And it's not like TV. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of thought and a lot of effort that goes into putting a room together like this. So, obviously, a huge transformation. Painted the coffered ceiling red. Look at your ceilings. Don't forget about them. They can make a huge statement point. Even if you don't have any of the beams and the molding, look at your ceilings. They can make a big difference. Great big, happy, comfy, family sectional. There's a TV housed in that entertainment center, but really listen to what they wanted, and a nice, comfy, elegant spot. We do a lot of entertaining, so it needed to be an upscale family room, but a place that they can still hang out in as well. Same house, a teenage daughter who knew exactly what she wanted, which I know is not surprising, and she wanted a place. This is her study room off of her bedroom. So if you guys, I don't know how well you can see it, this is a sort of metallic silver wallpaper, which, yes, wallpaper's back. Anybody considering doing any wallpaper, go for it. It's awesome. The technology of the adhesives and how it goes on and off, if you ever had to take it off, is not a terrible feat anymore. And there's just some really great, as you can see, more modern patterns. Bathrooms, powder rooms, and dining rooms are a great place where I use a lot of wallpaper. So this was a pretty neat transformation for her. She wants to be a fashion designer. So. Yes, they have their hands full. This was actually our first home where we were moving into right before Finley was born. It used to be a little boys' room with the blue, and that's what I had for my vision for my first nursery. And we don't live there anymore, and I miss that room dearly. Our room's cute now, but that was just a special room. So this is an outdoor space, and we're all approaching spring and praying that we have some kind of hint of it soon. But outdoor rooms or outdoor spaces have become a lot like our rooms. We're wanting to have outdoor living and not just a couple patio chairs, but really a place to entertain and have great conversation outside. So this is the space. Now, they had a really great patio to fill with a lot of furniture. But a couple things I want to point out just as tips. If you can see in the back up against the house there, we did a pair of drapery panels, outdoor drapery fabric, which just adds some softness to the house so you do feel like you're actually in a room and not just out on the back patio there. So think about that if you have a good space for that. But accessories, artwork, there are so many great now outdoor products that are meant to be out there. They're all weatherproof. You can leave them and not have to worry about it, and your outdoor space always looks great. So huge strides with outdoor spaces. This is actually the same house in the master bedroom. They moved in and just kept putting stuff on to the surface. There's a refrigerator. It's kind of meant to be, I guess, like a little dry bar area. And my client said to his wife, all you do is put stuff there. Why we don't use this? Let's make it more functional. She didn't even have anything in the glass shelves for display, which is funny. So it was just a space that needed to be smarter for them. So now you may say, okay, well now the shelves are gone, and there's no refrigerator, and this is a main floor master. They didn't need the refrigerator. They didn't want that. Somebody else may have wanted it. They didn't in particular. So that actually, this chest now houses all of their linens. They wanted a crisp, clear, clean line look there, and they didn't need that space. So they wanted all the clutter to go away. So much more minimalist and more contemporary vibe in that space. Also the same house, and I'm giving you guys a little bit of background about each room because I think it's really important to hear, again, what that family wanted. This room, they had no idea what to do with, but they said, we all play some sort of musical instrument. They had 3 boys. They all play rugby. They needed a place. They wanted a place where their boys could feel very comfortable going to study, read a book, but also they could have family music night when they wanted to. This space is really kind of in the middle of the house, so it has a lot of traffic flow as well. So that's the after. I'm going to see if I can go. You can't see the fireplace actually had sort of what we call is our more traditional stone that you see a lot of, and they didn't want that. So we had a more contemporary stone faced over top of that, which was a pretty inexpensive and easy way to do something, but you can see all their guitars lined up there, and they live in this space. So it's a beautiful, warm and cozy room, but they actually use it all the time. We did a very durable fabric on the sectional there. And a great leather round ottoman to be able to kick your feet up on and relax and get comfy. So these now I'll just show you, they're not before and afters, but just some rooms that I like that show some different ideas. Again, a little more modern feel. I don't get too many requests for a modern contemporary design in Loudoun County, which is great. But every now and then, you get that combination of more traditional and more modern together. And this was definitely their style. They liked a warm, inviting, traditional feel, but with some interesting and a little more combined feel. So I talked about this mirror and this mantle. I write a blog. I love to blog and I love to write. I just wish I had more time to do it. But I write a little note for a column for Northern Virginia Magazine, and I talked about this particular room, which you guys are wondering what's supposed to be above your mantle or how to jazz up your mantle. You should check it out. It's got some good advice as to what you can do with your mantle just to bring it up to speed a little bit. Because I know it's always a place where people struggle with the depths of mantles and how to make that work. Again, another music family where they didn't want necessarily a formal living room with a sofa and chairs. They really wanted it to be a great place they could hang out and listen to their daughter play the piano. Another second story situation. My favorite part, honestly, of this room are the chairs. Those chairs are they're a modern wing-back chair, and I just love the pattern on there. Comfy, cozy. They love to have coffee. It's always so nice. Clients call and they say, I love my room. I'm so happy. I had coffee in my new sunroom. And it makes me feel good to hear that somebody is living in it and enjoying it. Okay, so are we okay on time? We do? Okay, sorry. I just real quick show you how I put together a room for somebody is on a design board. So people really often say, I can't visualize, I don't know what it's going to look like, I look at this fabric and that fabric, and this is how I would present something to somebody so that they can really get a visual of how that room's all going to come together with all of the elements on there, and then especially love fits, they say, oh, I got a feel for it, that are tougher visualizers. But this is how I would put something together for our clients so you guys guys can get a sense of that as well. Okay, I have a couple other things, so I'll just wrap it up pretty quickly, but are we okay for a second? Sure. Okay. I wanted to just do a quick introduction. I had to get my business out of my house and with the 2 little ones and people coming to work for me every day. I said I gotta get some separation. We actually moved out of my house and found a great little house in Ashburn, downtown Ashburn. Our table is over here, so I'd love for you guys to pick up a card so you can see where our address is in my design studio. My mom, bringing her back into the mix, has always had her dream to have a home decor, home accessory, gift shop, and so we've really grown and branched out and taken the next step with my design studio there, as well as having the shop there. And it's just been amazing to work with her and to have the inspiration every day, being surrounded by all of these beautiful things, as opposed to sippy cups and passies and crying everywhere. A little bit different. And so I'd love for you guys to just come and check it out and get a sense of what we're doing and what the next phase is. So thank you for listening to me talk and talk.